Hello and welcome. Have you ever wondered, do I need a roll maker? Well, today you're going to find out you do. Inside this Greenstuff World roll maker, you'll find 6 texture plates and 2 helpful guide rails. I'm using milliput, but you can also use green stuff to make your little wiggly worms. Sorry, the tubes, tentacles and wires. Now, I don't read instructions, so my first attempt didn't quite come out to plan. I thought, put a roll of green stuff in there, rub the plates together, and I have magic. My second attempt did lead me into a false sense of security because it worked perfectly. But my third attempt really demonstrated to me I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. So again, instead of seeking out instructions, I decided maybe I'm just going too slow. Rubbing the plates quickly and gently together seemed to be working for me for some time. But off camera, I had an awful lot of failures. Now, after quite some time, I realised sticking might be the issue. So I decided to add water to both plates to see if that would resolve my issues. Yeah, that is the problem. You need to make sure those plates are wet. Now, that might be in the instructions, but I ain't got no time to read. After managing to figure out that first hurdle, I found that I was making some very convincing tubes and tentacles. I also worked out there's no such thing as too much water. I read somewhere that Vaseline might help, but that's best used for other things. Water's cheaper. I did wonder if I could make a really girthy worm, and if you don't need those little guide runners, that's possible too. You can also make those wiggly worms thick at one end and thin at the other. I did find if you didn't want wires, turning one of the plates diagonally gave some great textural results. To keep those wiggly worms usable, applying a damp kitchen towel on top of them helps them from stopping drying out. Now, I'm going to have to admit, I was going to use these roll makers first and then make a video on them. But after solving the sticking issue with water, the tubes and tentacles came out too good for me not to use. So, seeing as I recently picked up this War Machines model for half price, I figured this will be the victim of these tentacles. To add those manly tubes, tentacles and wires to that figure, all I did was drill some holes and superglue that milliput into place. Or, as my children would say, I applied those little wiggly worms all over that figure. I believe the box art is one of those odd occasions that you can actually replicate each texture. And here they are all applied to this little miniature. Now here comes the fun part of making those worms look like they're bursting out of that figure. If you've ever bought some Games Workshop products, just save all those shavings that are needed to re-sculpture all their poorly crafted moulds, and then shave off those little fine curls off of those sprues. Well, you just need some random plastic shavings, to be honest. Now, this is the only occasion I will say do not use plastic glue. The fine shavings will melt, so use super glue. Once the liquid super glue has been applied, it's time to attach those little plastic curls. They will represent the armour that's been busted through. Then, with no time to waste, it's time to pick up those plastic shavings and apply them as well. Followed quickly with baking powder to set the glue and apply fine details. This will make it look like those little wiggly worms have busted out from inside of that armour. This is repeated all over the model. After the black primer's been applied, some of the texture is starting to show through on those little tentacles. As for the metallic parts of the model, I use several different types of metallic paints to create visual interest in similar materials, but this video is mainly about those little intrusive worms. So after applying a layer of dead flesh on them, it's time to address those busted out shrapnel pieces, which are covered in my brightest metallic. Again, this model was going to be an experiment. I wanted to know what a magenta wash would look like on a light green skin colour for an upcoming project. I was hoping the magenta would look like bruised skin on the dead flesh, but let's just say it picks out those textures on those little wiggly worms perfectly. Now, clearly, I didn't get the results that I wanted. Now, my camera is being too kind to me. The very light green and the dark purple do not match. So I give a heavy dry brush of a lightened version of the dead flesh to tone down the magenta wash. As gloss varnish hides mistakes and makes objects look slimy, I make sure all those little tentacles get a nice, good glossy varnish. As for the metallics, I found out recently that Skeleton Horde contrast paint provides a more subtle weathering effect on the metallics rather than my original go-to of Agrax Earthshade. The Skeleton Horde paint seems to recreate metallics that look aged and not just weathered. The metallic shards around the tentacles won't get aged as they're going to represent the fresh metal coming from inside the little robot. As I didn't plan to use these wiggly worms on this figure straight away, the oh dear I forgot to save a tentacle to represent the first attack on this robot coming from the base popped into my little brain. The figure just sitting on the base just didn't make any sense. Where did all those tentacles come from? So, Yoo-hoo glue and a piece of plastic from a clothing price tag, I think, were used to try and integrate the little figure with the base. I'd also just purchased this black lava gel with absolutely no idea on what it actually does. So, onto the base it goes, so I know when I need to use it for a better project. As for additional eye candy on the figure, I'll use this kit I bought a little while ago. Now I will say that I am actually a fan of these bottles. Coming completely sealed so you have to drill out your own pop is genius. I don't know why I like it, I just do. Vallejo cracked lids, I'm looking at you. I will say the first time I used these paints straight after I received them, the results were not too great, as I didn't have a clue how to use them. This is actually the second time I've ever used these paints. All I can say is the orange rust works exactly how you'd want it to. The effects are subtle and require multiple coats to get a bright orange. However, the verdigris and blue oxide really need thinning. As far as I can tell, they are very pigment rich. And after I applied them, I immediately went over them with a wet brush to try and tone it down. I should have thinned them first, but what are you going to do after you've already applied it to the figure? Dry brushing the original metallic later will actually tone down these results, so I'm not too worried. After a little bit of blood effects paint is applied to his little claw, it's time to use the vomit and bile effects on the base and those little tentacles. The first time I used them, I realised they're quite transparent, which, when applied to those little tentacles, gave them that sickly green finish. And it also toned down that really rich magenta wash I put on it earlier. And now it's time for some magic. Well, letting your eyes trick your brain that something's made out of glass. If you apply a darkish base coat over any camera lenses, for example, then with a lightened version of the base colour, apply that to 1/3 of the camera lens in one of the bottom corners. If the lens is large enough, apply an even brighter highlight within the area you just painted, but make sure not to use white, as that will be used in the opposite corner. After you've applied that tiny little white highlight, your brain instantly says, that's made out of glass. Again though, if your painting skills are as bad as mine, applying a big dollop of gloss varnish on top will also help sell the illusion. Now to address my poorly applied special effects paints. Applying a light to maybe a mid-heavy dry brush of the original base metallic colour will provide all that edge highlighting and also tone down my little blue mistakes. After touching up all those little areas that need to be bright silver, I can happily say my little experiment is done. Hang on, this was only going to be a tutorial on how to use the Greenstuff World roll maker. Why do I let my brain go on a tangent? I've just nurgled a little War Machines model. Now, that does actually give me some ideas. Which model or figure would you convert to the Lord of Decay? Now, as I have actually had so much fun making these little wiggly worms, my favourite figure would be all of them. Convert them all to Nurgle. Thanks for watching and have fun.